Well, Kenny, I hyped up that game before kick-off at half-time. I was left with a little bit of egg in my face when only one side had turned up. But that second half was Liverpool, Manchester City, everything we've known to come and love over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it was needed because you're right, that first half performance from both teams was a disappointment. It just wasn't good enough, a little bit out of sorts. Liverpool in particular, kind of reasonable enough start to the game, wasn't it? But Manchester City kind of grew in confidence, got a bit more of a foothold in the game, and just very little reaction from Liverpool. Kind of like really kind of like described it maybe as they got a flat puncture in that first half, couldn't get themselves going, really labouring across. Looking at Henderson, kind of Fabinho, those central midfield areas, kind of very laboured in their movement.
Did you put that down to a mentality, or was there a tactical setup that meant they just couldn't impact the game?
No, it certainly wouldn't have been a tactical setup. Liverpool don't play like sit off and play that low defensive block. They step off teams. Generally, they're on the front foot. They're kind of aggressive with their press, which is what we saw predominantly second half. I think just one of those things, a little bit of fatigue, physical, mental, just not quite switched on. Looks like they lost a little bit of confidence almost in that first half. They're only human after all, but they rectified it at half time, and just as well they needed to, because they got away with one there in that first half, going in at 0-0 at half time. Not that City were perfect, but they kind of they finished the first half well on top and had the chance to go in ahead at half time. Phil Foden in particular, probably the only, wouldn't say weakness in his game, but maybe the area of the game, maybe an area of his game he has to improve. Just get those numbers, get those digits over the course of the season in terms of goals, because the rest of his game is pretty flawless.
Yeah, it's hard to be critical of him, particularly the way he took his goal. It was a clinical finish in the end. Two players will gain all the headlines out of this then, Phil Foden and Mo Salah. Talk about Phil Foden, 20 years of age, all that attacking talent on the Manchester City pitch, and today he looked a step above all of them.
Yeah, he did. And playing in a position where I don't feel as if still is his best position. Nathan played left of a three. We've seen him play well right of a three. He's played as a false nine, isn't he? But the area of the pitch I think he's at his best is probably where he's played least of all in that Manchester City team. It's probably in that midfield three. Now, Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva play there today in front of Rodri, but I still feel one of those two positions is going to be his best position going forward. I just think his movement, the energy he's got in his legs, that kind of acceleration. He's kind of a ball playing midfield. He's a bit of everything. He carries the ball, doesn't he, as well, into forward areas of the pitch. He gets his head up. He can pick a pass. He did that for the lead up to the second goal.
Has the bit of fight you need in that midfield.
Yeah, he has.
Well.
I think you're right. You don't carry him. He's not one of those players you think, well, you can't play him in centre. A bit like Grealish, you could make the argument, can't really play him in that central area. You can't carry him. You have to carry him out possession of the ball. I don't think that's the case with Foden. I think he's prepared to dig in, get back. I think he's got a decent understanding of the game out of possession as well. So for me, he's tailor-made for that central midfield area. He's just got to be a little bit more patient, I'd presume. But you've got to get him on the pitch in some area, haven't you, because of the quality which he has.
That move then to maybe been a part of that midfield three, is that just patience from Guardiola, that he realises at 20 maybe doesn't quite have the maturity to play there, and there's a little bit less risk having him as part of a front three?
I'm not too sure. It's difficult to argue that he hasn't got the maturity when you look at his performances over the last year. Now, you could argue he's playing an actual real maturity beyond his years. So I think that argument is coming a little bit more weaker and weaker. He's too inexperienced to trust him in that central midfield area. To me, he looks kind of like the heir apparent to kind of Kevin De Bruyne to a certain extent in that central midfield area. He's a different type of player, don't get me wrong. De Bruyne, a wonderful vision, kind of range of pass, and Foden's more mobile, isn't he? Like more rangy, box to box, more of a dribbler. But I still feel as if potentially De Bruyne over the next season or two, maybe if he gets pushed a little bit into the background, Foden's the one who's going to pick up the mantle really and drive the team forward from that central midfield area.
On the other side then, Mo Salah was the game changer for Liverpool, the driving run forward and the perfectly weighted pass for the opening goal for Sadio Mane, and then just 10 seconds of pure genius to score the second goal.
Yeah.
Here's what I know you love these type of questions. Is Mo Salah the best player in the world right now?
Yeah, finisher. I think the finish, in terms of quality, the finish today, I think you'd have to say in terms of a finisher, yeah, there's not much better. He's up there. Yeah, he really is. And then again, you look at his part in it's not as if he's not a team player. He doesn't join in terms of like the build-up play down that side of the pitch. I think he's done. That was a great example, the lead up to the first Liverpool goal, inside his own half the pitch. You know, links up well with kind of Fabinho, I think was James Milner, works the ball in a tight area. He showed all of his range of his abilities there in his own half the pitch, not giving the ball away, protecting the ball, working the ball, little combination. actually beat Cancelo. It was a 1v1 situation in his own half in terms of how he got around Cancelo. That was really clever play. And then it's a different facet to his game after that. He drives into the space, as you would expect, there was nobody near him. But then it's about, have you got the quality to get your head up and make the right decision? Many players in that position would continue to drive on, maybe take the shot on, have it blocked. But he's not. He's assessing the situation. He's calculating in his head, what's my best option here? And very quickly he saw what it was. That the little burst from Mane, that little diagonal run, and then that's my best option now. That's what's going to give us the best chance of scoring a goal. Now can I get the weight of pass? Absolutely perfect. So he can just walk onto that ball and put it into the back of the net. And that's exactly what he did.
As a man who has a top 10 list of favourite nil-nils, I know you don't mind a dour draw, but a moment of genius like Salah even had you off your seat, I could sense.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. It really was. It was magic. It's one of them, because it's one of them when he received the ball. A lot of goals, players receive the ball in those positions. There's expectancy. There's half a chance there. When he got that ball into his feet, Nathan, wide of the 18-yard box, with his back away from goal, it was nothing. I wasn't thinking, maybe just a flicker of a chance here. Nothing. I was thinking nothing. Surrounded by players with his back to goal. Just pop it off, get rid of it, get yourself in a position where you can receive the ball again and then maybe drive at somebody. And then it's almost like it's instinctive, isn't it? It's difficult to put. It's difficult to describe it, actually. Even Mo Salah, you might ask him, what were you thinking at that moment? Actually, I'm not too sure. It's just instinct. It's just a sense something can happen here. Like, just senses the body's around him. Suddenly there's a quick little swivel, a quick two touches, and in the space of like a split second, the whole picture's changed. Now he's facing the Manchester City goal, Bernardo Silva on his backside, and he's away from those defenders. And now you're off your seat thinking, potentially something's going to happen here. And how many times in that situation have we seen him just drive towards the next defender, just shift it onto his left foot, and that little curling shot into the back post? If I was Emerick Laporte in that situation, that's exactly what I'm thinking. So I'm expecting that touch onto his left side. That's exactly what he does. But what I'm not expecting then is that drag back again, back across onto his right foot. And even when he does it, I think Laporte's probably thinking, got out of jail here. He's taken it onto his right foot. He's made his angle even narrower, and we've got a top class goal stopper between him and the goal. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter because he found the back of the net. Amazing.
Need to get that new contract signed.
I think that's a given. He's going to push, isn't he, Salah? He's going to push, and there's going to be a lot of talk of... I'm not one who says it's too lazy to say give him what he wants. I don't think he can do that. I think you got to give him what he's deserved. But at the same time, I still say Mo Salah's got to be fair to Liverpool Football Club. Mo Salah was not a world class. You're talking about the best striker forward in the world at the moment. He wasn't that when he came to Liverpool Football Club. And Liverpool Football Club had given him that platform and put a team around him, Nathan, which has enabled him to reach those heights. So yeah, give the player the huge amount of individual credit, but I think he's got to be fair to Liverpool Football Club as well and actually go and meet them halfway in terms of his demands.
Have you ever had a day like James Milner had today?
I wish I'd had days like James Miller. That would mean I'd actually got the chance to wear the Liverpool shirt for at least one game. No, I have a lot of sympathy for James Miller today. I'm still a huge fan of him after today. But you just got to look after players occasionally. You understand why he played today. He was struggling. Young Nico Williams might have had to play ahead of him. Gomez could have played, but no, we stuck with him. Fair enough. Banking on his experience at times. I don't think the Liverpool setup helps him in that situation. If you're Milner, you're thinking, how do I want the team to play today? I want them to play on the back foot. I want us to head back towards the edge of our penalty box. No grass behind me. Low defensive block. Get players around me. Kind of protect myself. That's not how Liverpool play, is it? Front foot, squeeze to the halfway line, commit players high up the pitch, and you get exposed in 1v1 situations, Liverpool defenders. And that was difficult for them. And the last 15 minutes of the first half was a real struggle. Time and time again, Manchester City were getting down that half the pitch. But I thought, you know what? I thought he'd done all right. First 20 minutes in the second half. But there's always going to be one foul, wasn't it, Nathan? One significant foul. And that's the gamble that Klopp took. And I thought he got away with him. Because I think technically that foul on Bernardo Silva was a yellow card. You can say, it was just a foul, it was a trip. It wasn't. It was more than that. It was a lazy leg. He knew he was done. Silva was breaking past him on the inside, driving at the Liverpool defence. So for Mill, technically, that was a yellow card. But we all know the game. I think the referee wouldn't be the first on that occasion to say, do you know what, big game, a lot at stake. I'm not going to make the decision. I'm going to give you one more chance and keep you on the pitch. And I don't think Guardiola can scream too much about that. I haven't seen the post-match interview. I can imagine what's coming. He's going to be absolutely fuming. That's an absolute disgrace. It wasn't a disgrace. Yeah, I think it was a yellow card. He didn't get it, so what? Manchester City, that didn't lead directly to the Liverpool goals. His team should have defended the better, had ample opportunity to do so. So he shouldn't blame that Guardiola. He should look at the bigger picture and say, look, I think a draw was a fair result. We played well in periods of that game, but we need to do better as well.
Yeah, let's look at the two sides then and where they are heading into the international break. Liverpool a point off the top, Manchester City 2 points off the top. Is Jurgen Klopp looking at that first half performance and a bit concerned as to where they are right now, or do you actually just forget about that and think, we weren't at it, that is the Liverpool I know, and I know we're still able to compete with Manchester City?
It would be a little bit of a worry. I've got to be honest with you. I mean, I like to look at that Liverpool midfield three, don't get me wrong. But I'd be a little bit concerned in terms of Jordan Henderson again. Huge fan of his. We know how integral part he is to that Liverpool team. But he's at an age now, Jordan Henderson. You wonder if there's maybe just a slight little drop off in terms of that kind of those energy levels, that kind of physicality, that kind of engine which takes him around the pitch at full throttle for 90 minutes, and it has done for the majority of his Liverpool career. That would be a slight worry. Maybe gone, not for the immediate future, but I'm talking about going forward over the next year or so. Can you depend on him in terms of those energy levels week in, week out? Fabinho's a different type of player. He's more of an interceptor. He's not as good an athlete as Jordan Henderson. But while you have somebody like Henderson alongside him at full throttle, and the likes of Naby Keita, or maybe I suggest Curtis Jones, wasn't his best game today. But as long as you got legs alongside Fabinho, then that's absolutely fine. You can't have a drop off in that Liverpool midfield either side of Fabinho, and we saw a little bit of that today in the first half. So that'd be kind of a small concern for me. But that's only small. But I think there's more to come. Van Dijk, quiet game today. People will point to his long-term injury, which I think is fair. But I think he needs to do a little bit better. Maybe that's just, I've never had that type of injury, to be fair. That crucial ligament injury. Some players deal with it a little bit. It takes them a little bit longer. But I think there's a little bit more to come, and I think Liverpool need a little bit more from him. Joe Matip was absolutely outstanding today. Actually stepped into the breach phenomenally. He played a Virgil van Dijk performance from today. That's what we're used to seeing from Van Dijk week in, week out. That's absolutely excellent. And that's an area of the pitch now, Liverpool. That was their Achilles heel, wasn't it, last season? When he's rectified that. The performances of Matip and the acquisition of Konate alongside Gomez, for me now, there's no weak link in the centre of that Liverpool central defence. So a lot of good. I think I'd be positive. I'd be optimistic if I was a Liverpool supporter, because I think there's more to come. And
on Manchester City, some outstanding performances today from Phil Foden, who we've touched upon. Gabriel Jesus sacrificed a lot of his game, but really contributed at both ends of the pitch as well. Bernardo Silva made a big impact, but also a couple of quiet performances. Like Jack Grealish never got into the game, and Kevin De Bruyne has just seemed a little bit off at the start of the season.
Yeah, again, no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. This individual performance from both teams, Manchester City in particular, just not up to the levels you'd expect. Again, I'd say Guardiola, for me, it's the wrong decision playing Grealish down the middle. I think he looked a little bit out of sorts, struggled to get into the game, struggled really to understand the position, and that's the biggest thing. It's always saying off plays with false nine and drop off and go and influence the game. It's not as easy as that. You've got to understand the movements of people around you. And I thought he struggled today. I don't think he done him any favours playing him in that kind of false nine position. I hope we don't see that again. So I thought he got it wrong. Rodri, for me, again, disappointing in that central midfield. I'm not a huge fan of Rodri personally. I don't think he's the best. The defensive side of his game for me isn't strong enough. I'd still rather see Fernandinho in there. For that reason, I trust him more, the defensive side to his game. And De Bruyne, again, it hasn't been a great start to the season for him. Nobody's going to be saying Kevin De Bruyne is over. He's over the hill. Don't get me wrong, but like he needs to bring more. He needs to bring more to the game. His passing today, Nathan, just in sense, he's usually ruthlessly efficient in terms of his passing. Every pass hits the target, doesn't it? Whatever it is, whether he's punched the ball forward, he's clipping the balls down the line, crosses into the box. Always they're delivered in the right area and they're on the money. That wasn't the case today. So again, Pep Guardiola's leaving Anfield today thinking, I've got to be happy with a point, because individually there was a lot of below par performances on the pitch today. We can do better than that.
Yeah, we can all do better, Kenny. We'll try our best for next time. Great stuff as always.
Thank you.